Yeah, yeah. Internet goes haunted, chats with small talk. Live stream dreams in a bubble in the dark. 20 eyes peeking like snakes in the grass, making the room feel slow. Trying to build a fan base fast. Ain't nobody giving a damn about 20 viewers, any. Scroll right past, ain't no work when you can't. Keep hustling, keep grinding, that's the plan, G. One day you'll be king, steady dreaming about that Grammy. Keyboard warrior fighting for that recognition. Only fans in this room got that air conditioner. Sweaty palms pressing keys for breakthrough. 20 views steady drowning in the digital. Quite my dude. Ain't nobody giving a damn about 20 viewers, any. Scroll right past, ain't no work when you can't. Keep hustling, keep grinding, that's the plan, G. One day you'll be king, steady dreaming about that Grammy. Here see the faces, trying to stand out. Noise drowning hopes, cloud of doubt, no clout. Virtual stage, but the spotlight dim. Many clicking past, ain't feeling his him. Waiting for the moment, blow up like a piston. Haters gonna hate, but persistence gonna glisten. Hold tight, 20 times 200 someday. Laugh in the face shop, who wants some pay?
Nobody giving a damn about 20 viewers, any. Scroll right past, ain't no work, then you can't. Keep hustling, keep grinding, that's the plan, G. One day you'll be king, steady dreaming about that Grammy.
Keyboard warrior fighting for that recognition. Only fans in this room got that air conditioner. 20 palms pressing keys for breakthrough. 20 views steady drowning in the digital. Quite my dude. Ain't nobody giving a damn about 20 viewers, any. Scroll right past, ain't no work, then you can't. Keep hustling, keep grinding, that's the plan, G. One day you'll be king, steady dreaming about that Grammy. In the sea of faces, trying to stand out. Noise drowning hopes, cloud of doubt, no clout. Virtual stage, but the spotlight dim. Many clicking past, ain't feeling his him. Waiting for the moment, blow up like a piston. Haters gonna hate, but persistence gonna glisten. Hold tight, 20 times 200 someday. Laugh in the face shop, who wants some pay?
Waiting for the moment, blow up like a piston. Haters gonna hate, but persistence gonna glisten. Hold tight, 20 times 200 someday. Laugh in the face, shouting who wants some pay.
The globus never sleeps, man, the mind's always restless. Night owl in the shadows, playing moves like a chess set. While the world dozes off, I'm constructing my schemes. Blueprints of the future in the fragments of dreams. Sleep is the cousin of death, I'm avoiding the kid. Eyes wide open, let the journey begin. Through the labyrinth of thought, where the weak hearts break. But I'm digging through the darkness, chasing dawn before it wakes. The globus never sleeps, cause sleep is the cousin of death. I'm out here breathing deep, while the rest waste their breath. No rest for the wicked, I'm wide-eyed and driven. In the silence of the night, my thoughts stay vivid. Ink spills from the pen like a river through my veins, flooding every page with the echoes of the pain. I'm a wordsmith with a purpose, carving truths from the lies. When the world's counting sheep, I'm counting how time flies. Insomniac mind, every second is a weapon. In the war against the clock, I'm always stepping. Sleep's a cousin, I disown, no comfort in the night. Just a canvas for my thoughts painted in the twilight. The globus never sleeps, cause sleep is the cousin of death. I'm out here breathing deep, while the rest waste their breath. No rest for the wicked, I'm wide-eyed and driven. In the silence of the night, my thoughts stay vivid. In the silence of the night, my thoughts stay vivid. dreams are for the sleeping, but I'm living in the real. Grinding through the dark where the truth is revealed. Every thought is spark, every line a fuse. I'm a torch in the night, no time left to lose. The world's spinning slow, but my mind's in a race. Chasing every moment, there's no time to waste. Eyes like a hawk, seeing every crack and crevice. In this waking life, every second is precious. I keep my thoughts sharp like a blade in the night. While they're lost in their dreams, I'm honing my sight. Sleep is a cousin I've learned to forget. Cause the globe is never sleeps, there's no time to rest yet. The globe is never sleeps, cause sleep is the cousin of death. I'm out here breathing deep, while the rest waste their breath. No rest for the wicked, I'm wide-eyed and driven. In the silence of the night, my thoughts stay vivid. In the silence of the night, my thoughts stay vivid. The globe never sleeps, cause sleep is the cousin of death. I'm out here breathing deep, while the rest waste their breath. No rest for the wicked, I'm wide-eyed and driven. In the silence of the night, my thoughts stay vivid. Just sleeping, but I'm living in the real. Grinding through the dark where the truth is revealed. Every thought spark, every line a fuse. I'm a torch in the night, no time left to lose. The world never sleeps, cause sleep is the cousin of death. I'm out here breathing deep, while the rest waste their breath. No rest for the wicked, I'm wide-eyed and driven. In the silence of the night, my thoughts stay vivid. Thoughts stay vivid. In the silence of the night, my thoughts stay vivid.
Hey yo. Hey yo. Hey yo. What up, Twitch? What up, Adam? What up, Cosmic? What up, bots? What up, lurkers? What up, Red Hobbit? What up, Miss Stalker? If you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, hit that bell to stay notified. What up, Reed? Hail, hail, the gang's all here. I hope you're enjoying your Thursday morning as much as one can enjoy a Thursday morning. Just your reminder that there is the possibility that I will be late to start tomorrow evening, but there will be a stream. It just depends on what time I get home from my class. And that's it. That's it. That's it. So without further ado, let's do the news. Yeah, I mean, that was happening, right? Like, I don't think that there was any, I hope that there wasn't anyone who thought that Diddy was not going to get arrested. You know. And they got him on RICO. And RICO is like 97% conviction rate. So, RICO is what they do when they know they got you, you know? Like, I mean, they have stacked everything. They're ready to make the move. Yeah, what was it? They ran all his stuff earlier this year, and that was like, yeah. No, they are ready. They are ready to move when they hit you with RICO. You're just like, the question is, does Diddy know enough to flip? And does he have enough on like other people where it's actually some kind of reduction in his sentence. And I don't know. I don't know. Saw a bunch of pictures going around the internet of a certain presidential candidate hanging out with Diddy during parties. Are you taking notes on a criminal conspiracy? Oh. All right. So, we got Billboard out here. The AI speaking a nice segue, by the way. Way to set me up, right? Nice job, Reed. The AI music honeymoon phase is over after a summer marked by lawsuits and reports of slow adoption. The initial honeymoon or hype phase of generative AI music is over. That doesn't mean it's the end. Oh, am I surprised that it's clickbait? Am I surprised? Not sorry, that cheap. Am I surprised? I did see your video. I did see that you made a video. I haven't had a chance to look at it. And as always, like I've said on multiple occasions that anything created can be used and like that. The only thing that I request, and it's a request, you don't have to do it, but is what Professor Q refers to as attribution, right? Like, did you provide any enough information on your video in the stuff that people could find the stream, right? That kind of thing. Because that's helpful if that's what your intent is. If your intent is to just make your own content out of my content, well, then that is a choice that you can make. But if your intent is to try and drive traffic over here to the stream, then just try and make sure that there's an easy way, the least friction way to get people over here, right? Like a link or something like that. But yeah, no, like use the shit. Teach other people. Use the shit. That's the point. That's ultimately the point. The AI music industry is experiencing a shift in perception and momentum after an initial period of excitement and hype. The sector is now facing challenges that signal the end of its honeymoon phase. Legal challenges. The summer has been marked by a series of lawsuits targeting AI music companies and their practices. These legal actions have raised questions about the legitimacy and sustainability of certain AI music applications. Slow adoption. Reports indicate that the adoption of AI music technologies has been slower than initially anticipated. And this is like the link provided here is back to the original article. I would like to see these reports. This suggests the industry may be struggling to find widespread acceptance or practical applications for these new tools. The cooling of enthusiasm for AI music technologies could lead to several outcomes. Reevaluation of business models. And companies in the AI music space may need to reassess their strategies and value propositions. Increased scrutiny. There may be more careful examination of AI music technologies, particularly regarding legal and ethical considerations. Refinement of technology. This phase could push developers to improve their AI systems to address concerns and limitations. While the initial excitement may have waned, this period could be crucial for the long-term development and integration of AI in the music industry. It may lead to more sustainable and legally sound applications of the technology. So it sounds like actually that the article in question here is fairly balanced. It doesn't appear to be taking a side, at least in this synopsis of the article. It doesn't appear to be particularly taking a side around the issue. But because I do hope that there is a link to these alleged reports, we're going to take a look. We're going to take a deeper look. There's a lot of hyperlinks. Do 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 do. The AI music streaming fraud case dropped. It proved what many had feared. AI music flooding into streaming services is diverting significant sums of royalty away from human artists. No, 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 no. That's not what happened. That's not what happened. Unless there's a singular pool and the royalties are distributed on a percentage basis, this can't happen, right? I have a limited amount of experience. I only know what about Spotify, and Spotify has like a flat rate, right? So this person, right, who gamed the system and violated their terms of service, apparently, they did not divert sums away from human artists. They diverted funds away from the companies, right? The companies had to pay this person, they didn't take the money from other artists and give it to this person. So the presentation of it this way, if you like the video work, it would be best if you would adopt it into your archive so I can drop it from my one. I don't know what you mean by that, Cosmic. You like the... Well, it actually came up yesterday. What up? And Larry is partly responsible, as often Larry is. I said, do we need a Sam Altman Kappa emote? Because an emote was posted, a Kappa emote, and it looked to me on first glance like it was Sam Altman. So it seems only fair that we have an appropriate Kappa for this stream. And what I did is I actually did some work on this. I found a picture of Sam Altman, and then I used Photopea to edit out everything but the head. But it was a little janky on the edges. So then I ran it through Leonardo to clean it up and give it a little more of a cartoony look. And this is what we got. Where is the slow adoption? Control F. Adoption. 1 of 5 matches. Okay. Here we go. This is what I wanted. It's a link to another Billboard article. Revolution or delusion? Despite AI hype, adoption remains slow. Okay, so they're referring back to, in this first part, the Goldman Sachs paper. And the dude over at MIT. So this is just the AI. This is the same AI hype shit. There's nothing particularly pointing at. Here we go. Surveyed manufacturing firms. Oh no, this is just regular ass AI. Or generative AI, but not particularly related to the music. Yeah, they provide no actual evidence for this claim. Cool. So we don't know how much AI music generators have been adopted by people. They used a ancillary claim from the other. Well, it's expected, Reed, right? It's expected. But it's AI's fault that the media is falling off, right? It's not the media itself, right? They're doing just fine. Oh, speaking of the media, scheduled to talk with Levelhead on Monday. Symptom of modern AI use where articles are taken into AI and regenerated. No, that's not what's happening here. This is you're partly right. The symptom of modern AI use is that you just find a way to shoehorn AI and negative claims into your headline, and then make whatever associations that you wish, but you don't actually have to prove any of the claims that you're making because nobody gives a shit, because the only people who defend AI are tech bros, right? That's how that works, and nobody gives a shit. So everybody gets to be uninformed and have very strong opinions. All right, so it's a tough time to be a manager in tech. The article discusses the challenging situation for managers in the tech industry, particularly focusing on recent developments at Amazon and other major tech companies. Won't someone think of the managers? Amazon has announced plans to reduce the number of supervisors and flatten its organizational structure. This is not the first time I've heard about companies flattening in today's environment. You know why? One of the jobs it's really easy to replace with AI. CEO Andy Jassy aims to increase the ratio of individual contributors to managers by at least 15% by the end of Q1 2025. This move is part of an effort to make the company operate more like the world's largest startup, allowing for faster decision making and reduce unnecessary processes. It really is. It really is. Broader trend in tech industry. Amazon's decision reflects a wider trend in the tech sector. Meta has been eliminating layers of middle management, with Mark Zuckerberg expressing a dislike for managers managing managers. Shopify has also been flattening its structure to reduce the number of managers. At X, formerly Twitter, Elon Musk has directed engineering managers to return to coding alongside their direct reports. Several factors are driving this trend. Reaction to overhiring during the pandemic, backlash against perceived fake work in the tech sector, cost-cutting measures in response to economic pressures. The what's missing from that list? What feels like it should be also included in that list? The current climate has created significant challenges for middle managers in tech. Increased risk of job loss due to layoffs and restructuring, heavier workloads for those who retain their positions, and complexity of managing hybrid teams in the post-pandemic era. While companies aim to increase efficiency through these changes, experts warn that significantly reducing middle management could have negative consequences. Linda Grattan, a professor at London Business School, notes that well-managed technologists are often the most productive, and managers play a crucial role in providing support, mentorship, and security to employees. Mark fires those managers. But yeah, having been a manager myself, right? Like a team. Oh, hi, Mark. Having been a team leader, right? Um, I always, I always stood between the more senior management. Morning, Sean. The more senior management and my team, right? I will handle it, right? Like if you have a problem, you talk to me. I will I will handle it with my people. And I was always there like I'm in addition to managing, for instance, I worked at a company that did it was a national satellite TV installation company, right? And I managed a team of like 5 people, something like that. And I also had my own group of installers to manage, which was what they did. But it was always like, no, you come to me, right? You don't bring shit to them. They're working. You leave them alone and let them do their jobs. You come to me and I will talk to them, right? If there's a problem. There wasn't a problem because they knew that I was working there with them. I was always available. I let people do their job. The only thing I cared about was do the things that need to get done, right? And we rocked shit. We were the best team on the floor, right? We handled the installers. Then there was client services who handled like direct TV and like that, and then there was customer service, which talked directly to the customers. And we were so good that what they did is they reformatted the way that they were going to do everything, and they took our teams and like spread them out geographically rather than by like division. And that fucked up everything. It's not my fault that your client services manager sucks ass. It's not my fault that they don't have a proper organization, that the manager can't get the shit done, anything else like that. You know, I'm sorry, I'm good at my job. But yeah, that's how I roll. A happy ending? There's no happy endings in business. Oh, look. All the paywalls. All the paywalls. Okay. Um the article, creating an AI first drug discovery engine. Article in Nature discussing the proposed merger. What up, Shaggier91? Watching on DVD quality. I don't know what that means. You got me on DVD? Get me on Blu-ray, homie. Discussing the proposed merger of two biotech companies, Recursion and Blu-ray is sold out. Fair enough. People do love Globus on Blu-ray. Exscientia to create an AI-first drug discovery engine. Recursion, founded in 2013, focuses on using machine vision to analyze cell images for understanding disease biology. Exscientia, established in 2012, develops algorithms to help medicinal chemists explore chemical space more effectively. Merger goal. The companies aim to combine their strengths to create a comprehensive AI-driven platform for small molecule drug discovery. This merger represents a significant development in the application of artificial intelligence to pharmaceutical research and development. The article features an interview with Najit Khan, who holds the position of Chief R&D Officer and Chief Commercial Officer at Recursion. Interview explores the rationale behind the merger and its potential implications for the future of drug discovery. It's worth noting that the interview responses have been edited for length and clarity. People will dismiss this outright, but it's just another stage in AI drug dev discovery technologies. It's already getting better each week. I am with you, Reed. Like, it's happening. Like we looked at yesterday. I think it was Old Lobster dropped us the the excuse me, the Register article about IBM job cuts. Which again, is terrible for the people who lost their jobs. And even this, we do, geek on the managers, but they're people who lost their job, right? Like last week they were working and this week they're not, that kind of thing. And I am empathetic to their situation as well. But like, there is a very strong undercurrent of, just by bits and bobs where AI is occupying little spaces and having small adjustments to the existing system. And that is going to continue to occur, right? Very slowly and then all at once. And that's a segue. Experts warn many professions likely to be replaced by AI in the not so far future. The bright promise of artificial intelligence is that it will create new jobs and opportunities. Who the fuck told you that? That is not the bright promise of artificial intelligence. The bright promise of artificial intelligence is that it will remove work from the human domain and allow us to pursue activities that we would prefer to pursue. Issue with restructuring is that companies need to do prep work before firing people. 100%. Right? 100%. Lean, efficient. And what that means is eliminating some jobs and then restructuring and then deciding who else can be let go and replaced with automation. But the dark mirror of this future is the professions replaced by AI, leaving people with no job and few prospects. I flip that, right? Like that's The dark mirror is that it will create new jobs and opportunities. The issue is broader in that we need better resource distribution. Even those most optimistic, talking about me, about a future filled with AI, admit it will come with its fair share of pain. Agreed. The idea is that by acting now, we can soften the landing, right? Like we can address these concerns now. Best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time right now. Innovation in capitalism does have an aspect of creative destruction. Zach Boyd, the director of Utah's new Office of Artificial Intelligence. Making sure all the work isn't given to one person. If one person is doing the job of 3 people, they'll burn out and quit. Ask me how I know. Creative destruction means that while some jobs are created, others are destroyed. Is that what creative destruction means? Because I would have a different definition, maybe even yours. There may be those secure in careers right now, completely unaware that time is counting down until this technology makes them redundant. Will people's particular job descriptions be changed or replaced? Yes, that's certainly going to happen. Says W. Scott Stornetta, considered one of the fathers of the blockchain and a longtime AI researcher. Stornetta noted with new technology, some jobs once widespread have now become almost non-existent. There aren't as many travel agents as there used to be, right? Because of the internet. True. In the 1920s, the largest job category was telephone operators. Automated systems quickly made that profession essentially extinct. When asked who the telephone operators of today are, those whose career could quickly be replaced, Stornetta responded, truck drivers. As AI driving gets more reliable and automated driving systems that never rest become much cheaper than a driver of flesh and blood, he believes we will have automated transportation. It's coming. It's inevitable. I don't know, Larry. We'll exploit the robots, right? That's the whole point. The majority of the truck driving industry, I think they're going to be looking for work. Perkins said, who the fuck? Oh, Gage Perkins, sorry. Gage Perkins, who has been driving for an oil company for 2 years, sees the writing on the wall when it comes to AI and driverless trucking. The majority of the truck driving industry, I think they're going to be looking for work, Perkins said. I've got a 5-year escape plan. There are more than 3.5 million people who make a living driving trucks in the U.S. right now. Perkins fears what a sudden move to AI driving could mean for them and for everyone. That would be pretty big to the economy. Things would take a hit. A lot of people, a lot of guys go out of jobs overnight. I don't know what they would do. I don't know what I would do, he said. Truckers are just one example. You should think how your career is going to be impacted, right? This is the thing that I tell you, right? And that you should tell others. Don't believe that your job is safe. Figure out how your job could be automated. Somebody said it. Pro Robots guy. Forewarned is forearmed, right? Like if you know what steps it would take for you to automate your job, then you will have a better idea of what to look for as your job gets automated. And if you learn to use the technology and be comfortable with the technology and not pretend it's not happening and stick your fingers in your ears, then as time goes on and as unfortunately people lose their jobs, and I say unfortunately in the sense that we have yet to really actively prepare for what that's going to look like, and resource distribution and all that. But you will be the one who can stay longest at the job, long after many other people get let go, whether they be other employees, managers, CEOs, any of that. A worker using AI is far more important to the company than the CEO using AI for the company. Because if something gets weird, if something kind of goes off in a different way, the worker knows what to do to adapt. The CEO is going to ask the AI to fix it or call someone else from outside the company. Experts warn that for those in fields where AI could cut job prospects in half, staying employed could be a Darwinian fight, adapt, or become a relic of the past. The real jobs battle is going to be between those who learn to use AI to enhance their ability to do their job and those that don't, Tornetta said, adding that the difference may come down to who acts now. We do have control of our destiny, but we need to take action. So after 2+ years on this platform telling you words, and then W. Scott Stornetta, considered one of the fathers of the blockchain and a longtime AI researcher, comes in and tells KUTV the exact same shit. Can we agree that I know what the fuck I'm talking about at this point, or are we still gonna pretend that AI is a hype bubble and it'll all go away? Everything will be fine. Don't worry about it. Salesforce's new AI strategy acknowledges that AI will take jobs. Salesforce Inc. is unveiling a pivot in its artificial intelligence strategy this week at its annual Dreamforce conference, now saying that its AI tools can handle tasks without human supervision and changing the way it charges for software. Yes, Reed, what you said. Oh. The new iteration of Salesforce's AI products is meant to run without supervision, in contrast to now outdated copilots and chatbots that rely It's been less than 2 years and them sons of bitches are outdated. Oh, in contrast to now outdated copilots and chatbots that rely on human requests and struggle with complexity or multi-step tasks, the company said in a statement. For example, publisher John Wiley and Sons Inc. said it was able to boost the number of customer service claims it resolved using Salesforce agents without employee interaction. Gives me a nasty feeling that dynamic pricing is going to be much more easily done. I mean, that is definitely a possibility. Which is why we did that brief thing the other day about how to analyze prices and, buy for best value, right? Buying in bulk, buying the most that you will utilize within the time frame before it goes bad, right? Like toilet paper. Toilet paper will last forever, right? Like it's paper. As long as you don't get it wet, it's fine. So should you buy the single rolls? Should you buy the 4-pack? Should you buy the bigger pack? You should buy the biggest pack of toilet paper that you can lay your hands on and then store it, right? Now, that's going to be more expensive in when in it like at point of sale, but it's going to be a tremendous advantage down the road, right? I don't even know what it is, but it's about this big, right? And it's a store brand, and it's good, and it does the job and everything else. And yes, I understand bidets and everything else, but I'm not installing a bidet in my house. I don't even know if my son would use a bidet. That kind of thing. The point being that, right? Dry products. Dry products are a good one. Rice, right? You get a little tiny bag of rice, or you get the Uncle Ben's rice or whatever. No. Go to the big box store, get the biggest bag of rice that you can, right? And then store it and get a like 5-gallon bucket. 5-gallon bucket with a lid from Home Depot costs you like $5. Right? You clean that sumbitch out, pour in the rice, boom. You got rice. You got rice for ages, months. You know? Yeah. No, that one was all right, Cosmic. You can also get discounts for bulk products at some places. Yeah, like the big box store, maybe what? I think restaurant outlet, if you can get into one of those kind of places. If you know someone who does the ordering for a restaurant, you can get stuff wholesale through them. No shenanigans, right? They order an extra thing of rice or whatever, and then they sell it to you, and the books are balanced, right? There's no shenanigans. You're just taking advantage of a loophole in the system. Staple of third world countries like lentils, beans, chickpeas, super cheap sources of protein that you can buy in bulk. Absolutely, right? Use the chatbots. I have rice and I have red beans. What can I do with this? And it will present you with a bunch of different recipes, right? And then it's all about your spices. So yeah. Be about it. I think the results that people saw from the co-pilots did not meet their expectations. I think the hype was a little ahead of the results on the co-pilot front. Many software vendors have launched AI assistants that can summarize or draft written content, the most well-known of which is Microsoft's Copilot. Generally, customers haven't been quite ready to pay for these additional features. Despite a breathless focus on AI since 2023, application software makers like Salesforce, Workday Inc., and ServiceNow Inc. have little to show for their efforts because they're middlemen. Once people realized that they could bypass the middlemen and not pay for a per seat license, I mean, welcome to capitalism, IG. Revenue and valuation gains from AI have largely flowed instead to makers of hardware like NVIDIA or cloud infrastructure like Oracle. Salesforce is even leaning into the employee replacement potential of the new technology. Its new AI agents will let companies increase their workforce capacity during busy periods. This is another one, right? Holiday surge hiring. You know, you need extra bodies for the holidays. You used to have to hire employees, or you got like gig workers or temp workers. Now you can just add more bots. So those people who looked for like to make some extra dollars for the holidays, the new pricing strategy will also seek to protect Salesforce if AI contributes to future job losses. Protect Salesforce. Fuck Salesforce. And business customers have fewer workers to buy subscriptions to the company's software. The company is famous for ushering in the era of software as a service, which involves renting access to computer applications via subscription. But as generative AI shakes up the industry, Salesforce is rethinking its business model for the emerging technology. The software giant will charge $2 per conversation held by its new agents. Generative AI built to handle tasks like customer service or scheduling sales meetings without the need for human supervision. I mean, great, right? That's probably going to do something. But again, like with something like O1 dropping, and if it does maximize its potential, then you're talking about a situation wherein you can build your own, bespoke, as the kids say. And this represents a change for Salesforce, which until recently focused on building human assisting AI tools. We have a principle called human in the loop. Oh, did you make that up? Baby, I just met you. This is crazy. Here's my number. Call me maybe. Thank you for the follow. We have a principle called human in the loop. We don't know enough yet to introduce technology that is fully autonomous. At Dreamforce this week in San Francisco, where 45,000 in-person attendees are expected, the company will make the case for its new strategy. Its venture arm also announced a new $500 million fund oriented for AI startups. Benioff on Tuesday argued the new AI products will be highly accurate and secure because Salesforce already holds a massive amount of customer data. That's in contrast to what he called those nasty co-pilots. Good luck with this. The pivot to Salesforce addresses another investor fear that job losses from AI could hurt the software as a service business model. One of the main pitches of AI is labor efficiency. A company that uses AI tools for customer service will need fewer human representatives to serve the same base, for example. But slower growing corporate workforces will dent revenue growth at software companies, which largely charge based on the number of workers authorized to use the products. Wall Street analysts have spent recent earnings calls sparring with software company management teams over this risk. Fuck all those people. By pricing its new AI features based on outcomes rather than the number of employees using it, Salesforce is insulating itself from customer job cuts. Milham, the COO, gave an example of a 5,000-person call center needing 30% fewer workers within 5 years. Others may just elect to hire fewer going forward. We like to think, let's reskill and move people up and do more complex work. And just proofread your just do what I'm doing. Just say the words out of your face hole and you will find all the errors. It's easy. But there are companies certainly who are looking through the lens of, hey, I think AI can do a lot of the work of humans today. No shit. It's just a bubble. It's all hype. None of this is happening. None of this is happening. I look forward to the next dipshit on YouTube who comments on one of my videos about how I don't know what I'm talking about. Those are my favorite. Shout out the dipshits. So, sometimes we like to talk about brain organoids, right? Which, for the uninitiated, are a collection of human brain cells that are used for a variety of different purposes, but often as a like a biological processor. So I'm dying again. So here, new brain organoid model replicates cortical domain. The group of Jürgen Noblick at the Institute of Molecular Biology of the Austrian Academy of Sciences has developed a new method that allows scientists to cultivate brain organoids with distinct cortical areas and front to back patterning. Oh my God. We're making tiny little human brains. Oh. Together with collaborators, they report a method that gives scientists a deeper look into human-specific brain development. What the time to be alive? Yeah, I think we need that, Reed. I'll give you that one. What do we replace? In the list of voice samples that we have here, I guess we could replace AI Calc because nobody really likes it and everybody uses it wrong. All right, I'll get a voice sample from 2 Minute Papers and replace AI Cal. Sound good? All right. Do 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 do. Give me 1 second.
Ding ding, time is up. The world is ending. The climate sucks. I'm high and drunk, driving a stopping truck. The AI talking to me like it's trying to fuck.
See? Do 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 do. All right, it's in my organizational system. What up, Master Goosey? Welcome in, homie. I wonder if human brains are the most complex brains on the planet. Complex? I don't know. And how do you define complex? I mean, you gotta put octopodes, octopuses. You gotta put them octopuses in the conversation, right? Because they have like little brains for each arm, and I heard, I don't know how true this is, but I heard that each of those brains can even have like its own personality. So an octopus is almost like a gestalt creature rather than like, but even like if you really think about it, humans are kind of a gestalt creatures. Orcas, yeah, but like I'm talking. Well, I guess it's like, what are we talking about, right? Like, are we talking about from a personality level or from a structure, right? Like, is the structure of an orca's brain more complex, and how do you define more complex and all that? Brain organoids are extensively used to study human brain development, and also you can rent them for $500 an hour to run experiments on. Derived from human pluripotent stem cells, the 3D models allow scientists to study unique properties of the human brain. Researchers use cortical organoids to answer fundamental questions such as how the human brain can grow to its large size or how the human brain's long-range connections form. However, cortical organoids are fairly uniform spherical cultures, like miniature footballs. Since they said spherical, I think by footballs they mean soccer balls for you Americans, not hand egg. This ball-shaped structure is quite unlike the oblong human cortex, which is structured into distinct domains from back to front, each with a distinct function. Therefore, the team developed a new protocol to generate cerebral organoids organized into distinct domains along the longitudinal axis. During development, the forming brain is patterned by different signaling molecules, so-called morphogens. In the newly presented method, the researchers first produced long linear organoids, which were then patterned through fusion with a clump of cells producing a factor called FGF8. This single asymmetric source of FGF8 establishes gene expression and cell segregation along the organoid's longitudinal axis, similar to the pattern observed in the human cortex. We are able to generate this polarity consistently along the organoid's entire longitudinal axis. Scientists then demonstrated how patterned cortical organoids can be used to study brain disorders. In achondroplasia patients, the temporal lobe, an area of the cortex, forms incorrectly. These malformations are linked to a mutation in FGFR3, a receptor for the FGF8 signal. In the patterned cortical organoids, this mutation in FGFR3 also leads to changes in patterning and cell proliferation along the longitudinal axis. Patterned organoids are a model for studying patterning defects that underlie developmental disorders. The organoids may even be an experimental platform to test the hypothesis that early patterning defects are responsible for transcriptional changes in the brains of autistic individuals. Organoids offer a means to connect genetic and environmental alterations relevant to neuropsychiatric disorders with specific early cortical patterning events. This is fascinating, right? Like, because you can't just go and do experiments on people, right? You can't just grab a child and expose them to stuff. And it's very unethical. But organoids, who gives a shit about the organoids? So you can create these organoids out of stem cells and do your experiments on those. And this has the potential also, in addition to everything that these folks are doing, give us an even better understanding of how, like, certain chemicals in the environment, certain environments, these kind of things, in the physical world, rather than, like, the nurture, right? The nature versus nurture. The nature, you can alter and see what the reaction of the organoids is and potentially build additional correlations. It could find cures of things like Alzheimer's, absolutely. But even beyond that, you're talking about, like, the potential, right, for, like, finding out what different chemicals that companies produce have an effect on brain development, right? Like, not doing correlation by, checking out, a child, looking at how they are, and getting information from, like, the parents and everything else, and trying to figure out, that you could actually do a fucking experiment. You take the brain organoid and you expose it to whatever chemical, and it's like, oh, look, it's all fucked. So these people who make this fucking chemical are basically fucking over your children. That always goes well. Not to mention, organoids derived from a patient's own cells could be used to tailor and individualize all sorts of treatments. Absolutely. There's also that, like, and I don't know, this could be like science fiction, like, weird shit, but, like, if someone has a like an aneurysm, right? Or, like a stroke. And a portion of their brain is cut off from blood and it dies. I'm wondering if it's a possibility. I don't know. This is not this. I'm outside of my realm of confidence here. But could we take stem cells, produce brain organoids, and remove the dead portion of the brain and replace it with new brain, right? And would something like that be able to reintegrate into the system? And while that person would never get whatever was stored in that portion necessarily back again because it's obviously dead and removed and things like that, but could they reutilize that space? I don't know, right? Like, this is spitballing, brainstorming kind of thing. Brainstorming. Something to think about. Questions to ask. I stared into the AI void with the social AI app. And of course, I didn't do this when I was on my phone. And that's the weirdest shit, is that I will get articles that I can look at on my phone, but I can't look at on the computer. In concept, sure, complexities would arise in practice. Of course, yeah, like, and I mean, that could be something that's like a million miles down the road, if it ever. But, like, tell me why it wouldn't work. That's what and it might not work. I could be talking out of my ass, right? Like, that's fine. The article discusses social AI, an app I have never heard of, but a new app that offers users a unique experience with AI chatbots in a social media like environment. People are going to lose their goddamn minds because people already have strong views about social media, and many of those people have strong views about AI, and this is going to be the worst of all possible fucking worlds for them. Oh. So this is something. Social AI is not a traditional social media app, but rather a platform that simulates a social network experience using AI chatbots. The app creates an environment where users interact with multiple AI personalities, each with its own distinct traits and behaviors. I like social media, but it's the people that I have a problem with. We got the app for you. The AI chatbots in social AI exhibit diverse personalities, ranging. What up, Requisite? Ranging from supportive to critical. You got that? You nailed that one. Some AI profiles may offer encouragement and praise, while others might provide more challenging or negative feedback. Content generation. The AI bots can generate various types of content, including text posts, images, and even music recommendations based on the user's interactions and preferences. Oh, I'm gonna have to try this. It's gonna be a total tire fire, but I have to try it. The article raises several points for consideration. The app blurs the line between human and AI interactions in a social media context. It prompts questions about the nature of online relationships and validation. Social AI represents a new frontier in how we interact with AI technology, potentially redefining our expectations of digital social experiences. While the app offers a novel and intriguing concept, it also invites reflection. It's something that we're good at on the internet. Reflection on the implications of replacing human social interactions with AI generated ones. All right. I am interested in looking at the Great Springfield Tire Fire. The dead internet theory comes to life with new AI powered social media app. Is it not in the Amazon or the Google store? And then, of course, there are many social AIs out here. Oh. Yep. See, that's not it. That sounds cool. Benchmarking socio-cognitive abilities and the whatever. Infinite AI followers. You can. we were worried about the AI influencer with all its human followers, and what we should have been concerned about was the main character syndrome of having infinite AI followers. Oh my god, we have flipped the script. This is perfect. This is absolutely, and it's from friendly apps, right? There's nothing wrong with friendly apps. Oh Jesus Christ. Oh, and the AI followers can have conversations. So yeah, it exists. I am not endorsing this. I'm not saying that you should download this and use it. I'm saying if it's on the Google App Store, I that like now the thing is, Reed, how do we get the AI to give us money? as a social media influencer and a personality on the internet, I just need to know, how do I get the AI followers to give me money? I know a fake social media app that is full of AI generated characters. You talking about character AI or something entirely different? Or were you doing a joke and I missed it? Post status updates and get infinite replies from millions of AI followers. Enjoy your own private space for reflection and feedback, like you're the main character. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, this is I'm the infinite money glitch, yeah. Duplicate, backup. Give me a. I think dead internet theory is perfect. Yes. Sorry, I have to give this to you. I hope that James. I feel like James is gonna love this one. Articles posted to the Articles. Yeah, yeah. Experience AI conversation tailored to your mood and thoughts. Use social AI as a tool for therapy, journaling, or simply feeling heard. There is a screaming into the void app. This is amazing. Receive helpful insights and AI generated support in real time. Feel the boost of always being surrounded by your AI community. Explore a new kind of social engagement where it's all about you. Oh, this has the potential to be the most popular app in human history. Holy fuck. I gotta know. I gotta know. It is not. This is y'all Apple people need to deal with this one. That it is not available to me. Butterflies AI is one of those AI companion apps, but it's in the format of a social media site. So your AI characters make posts and reply to other characters' posts. Holy shit. Ultimate internet intimate relationships are becoming very soon. What do you do? What do you do when your AI girlfriend cheats on you with one of your AI followers on your AI social media app? What up, Aaron? Like, what do you do at that point? Oh, we need UBI. We need UBI now. Public asked to help create humanity's last exam to spot when AI achieves peak intelligence. People are being asked to submit their questions and create the world's most difficult artificial intelligence test by the Center for AI Safety and Scale AI. Oh, these guys. I don't know, like, Scale AI just strikes me as like the other kind of AI grift. You know what I mean? I mean, true. AI Tim could steal my AI girl. Existing tests now have become too easy, and we can no longer track AI developments well or how far they are from being expert level. A few years ago, AI was giving almost random questions to random answers to questions on exams. That is no longer the case. Last week, OpenAI's newest model, known as OpenAI o1, destroyed the most popular reasoning benchmarks, according to Dan Hendricks. However, AI still isn't able to answer difficult research questions or other intellectual questions. It also appears to score poorly on tests involving planning and visual pattern recognition puzzles, according to Stanford University's AI Index report from April. April? This is, dude. In one hand, you say last week, and in the next hand, you say April, right? Like, do you not get this? Do you not understand how this works? Right? What happened in April was 1,000 years ago. Consequently, humanity's last exam will require abstract reasoning to test how clever AI really is. I wonder how many of the questions submitted by people are going to ask about woke. Is the AI woke? These submissions shouldn't be any ordinary quiz questions. We found questions written by undergraduates tend to be too easy for the models. Instead, they recommend that question writers have 5 or more years' experience in a technical industry job like SpaceX or are a PhD student or above. So, yeah. Remember what I said earlier about I feel like Scale AI is a different kind of AI grift? They are outsourcing to the general public, but the well-educated general public to create a benchmark for them that they will then use as their benchmark. And they're doing it in a way like, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Welcome to capitalism, my G. The submission should be difficult for non-experts to answer and not easily answerable via quick online search, and trick questions should be avoided. As a rule of thumb, if a randomly selected undergraduate can understand what is being asked, it is likely too easy for the frontier LLMs of today and tomorrow. So yeah, I mean, this is what, like, Philip over at AI explained, at least had the like gumption to do it himself, right? So shout out Philip, and I don't like scale AI. They rub me the wrong way. Longtime viewers know that I have a ongoing plan to live forever. And I'm not even joking, right? This is not one of those jokey joke things. There's too much to see and too much to do. And I am doing well so far. In 10 years' time, we'll be immortal. Laurent Alexandre, senior civil servant, entrepreneur, writer, and political activist, was a guest on the set of LCI, French news channel, to present his latest book dedicated to ChatGPT. Some excerpts. Artificial intelligence will change death. It will euthanize death in 5 or even 10 years. Well, the whole point, James, also, good morning, James. James, I posted an article in your Discord. You're going to love it. You're going to love it so goddamn much. I highly recommend that you actually go to the Apple page of the thing. Yeah, it is a special kind of horror too. Right up your alley. The point would be to also cure your diabetes, homie, right? Like you're not going to live forever. Like the idea, it's been referred to as amortality, not immortality. Amortality means that you're not going to like die of old age, basically, or a health issue. You could die by getting hit by a car or falling off a mountain or some shit like that, but you are the things that occur within the machine are not going to be the thing that kills you. The idea that death is a problem to be solved and not an unavoidable reality will prevail. Laurent Alexandre summarizes his point in 4 letters, NBIC. What up, Stoicite? Nigh immortal, sure. N is for nanotech. N for nanotechnology, in short, acting on molecules. B for biology, retouching genes, for example. I for computer science. Maybe I in French. What up, joint specialist? Sure. And C for cognitive sciences. What will this immortality look like? It will be a kind of transhumanism of a human-machine hybrid. And there they go. It's hard for me to do the thing if y'all like use Elon Musk as a fucking thing. You're very bad at propaganda. Tomorrow it will look like Elon Musk's famous Neuralink in that it will kill a bunch of monkeys. They're directly implanted in the brain of a patient in order to neutralize a pathology. And that's how a few months ago, a quadriplegic patient managed to play chess on a computer using only his thoughts, as if he were moving the mouse himself. Death will no longer be the natural outcome of all life. It will become a disease like any other, although a little more complex to eradicate. On the one hand, the physical body will be doomed to disappear in age, and on the other, the complete transfer of our memory and our consciousness will be done in microprocessors as from 2045, which would allow our mind to survive our biological death. So he's a full brain emulationist, right? The idea that we can map this shit to the point where we can do, where we can copy it to a computer. I disagree. I think that you can do stuff to this system. right? They're a combination of nanotech, stem cells. We know a bunch of why cells age and die and all that stuff. It's just a matter of fixing that shit. And the same type of outlook. I don't want to be immortal, just live long enough to have all my questions answered. I have a lot of questions. Yeah. Right? And it's not, maybe you live for 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 years or whatever the hell it is. And then you're like, okay, I think I'm good. Right? And then you shuffle off this mortal coil. Longevity escape velocity. Once you hit that, it's game time. The same way you hit an exponential level of progress in technology, you do the same in other fields by using that same technology. Yeah. And it's another strong case for UBI if people don't die. Or whatever, resource distribution. AI is at the very core of our business, says EA CEO. Now, if there was ever a personality that could come forward and like cause me to question my high opinions of AI in the future, it would be anyone from EA. EA CEO Andrew Wilson has stated AI is the very core of our business, and the company has over 100 active novel AI projects to assist with game development. Yesterday, the company held its Investor Day 2024, detailing its next games and innovation, including the likes of The Sims, Star Wars Jedi, and Battlefield. There you go, James. You get a new Star Wars Jedi game. Jet AI was a major part of the presentation. Speaking of generative AI, Wilson said this remarkable technology is not merely a buzzword for us, it's the very core of our business. The company has over 100 AI projects across 3 strategic categories. Efficiency is not just about cost saving, but doing what we do faster, cheaper, and at higher quality. Expansion is about giving our creative teams an exponentially bigger canvas upon which to create by adding depth and intelligence to characters and personalizing stories. Lastly, the company will accelerate innovation and the creation of content through transformation. So we got efficiency, expansion, and transformation. For years, we have talked about our games delivering experiences that are new and different. Have you? Is that what EA does? Do they deliver experiences that are always new and different? EA Sports. It's in the game. Like, I love the yearly Madden experience, which is so new and different every year. Excuse me. I can't wait to pay for 70 expansion packs for The Sims in order to play the full game that you definitely can't get whatsoever by using mods. Right. $60 DLC, baby. having to pay $2 to buy your sim character a sim coke so that they can consume that sim coke, and now that sim coke is no longer available, and now they have to go to the sim store to buy more sim products. Oh, you think I'm joking? So how are these AI projects being put into practice? Laura gonna go with Melee, president of EA Entertainment and Technology. Yeah, it is. Spoke at length about AI opportunities after briefly running through forthcoming single-player games like Dragon Age, The Veilguard, and the Star Wars Jedi games, as well as the likes of Apex Legends and The Sims. You know what I want? Like, I'm not a huge fan of Star Wars games, right? Like, they're okay. And which isn't to yuck anyone else's yum. By all means, enjoy them either way. what I would like to see what is a new version of was it 2? No, it was Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy.
I sense a disturbance in the Force.
You always sense a disturbance in the Force.
All right, none of that showed what I wanted to show you. The multiplayer in Jedi Academy, that was the shit, right? You could have lightsaber, you could have 2 lightsabers, you could have light staff, like that kind of shit, and you just go at it, right? Like team on team, PvP, and like running up, bouncing off the wall, doing a flip over the top, like rotationally like that while swinging my shit. The fucking game, I don't normally like PvP either because it's twitchy 13-year-olds who are fucking just get good, noob. But this is what needs a fucking sequel, right? This is what they need. Give me online lightsaber combat and I will sign up. I will sign up. How are these AI projects being put into practice? Apex Legends, The Sims. EA's current game development infrastructure handles 1 billion AI requests daily, while the company's AI tools power in-game features for stable game experience, personal recommendations, and create a fair and secure gaming environment. One specific example of AI use is in The Sims for its forthcoming hub that acts as the central platform for all series games. AI is powering discovery tools so that Sims players can search for suitable in-game assets using photos rather than text. You thought I was joking about the in-game Sim Coke, right? You are literally going to be able to take a picture of your favorite brand and use that in the game. Oh my god. Through photo-based searching, players can find housing elements or even upload a photo of a real human to create their likeness. While powerful, there's also potential for this sort of function to be abused. Yeah, you definitely need your AI to be good at searching for dick pics because Dick Pic Face McGee is going to be rampant in that kind of thing. Another example is EA's new script to scene tool, which essentially allows game development to be done through text or voice prompts. Told ya, I'm a brand. This includes creating characters and scenes, as well as direct performances, all using generative art, AI-enabled game development, and procedural generation. These are clear examples of how AI is already impacting game development. Indeed, as Eurogamer reported in March, AI is already used by 62% of studios, according to a report by Unity. Character animation was the biggest use case. And just yesterday, Eurogamer reported that NVIDIA boss Jensen Huang, who discussed the advantages of AI as a key component for advancing graphical capabilities. I actually do, Stoicite. While you will see, like EA doesn't give a shit, generally speaking, right? The aforementioned Madden, yada, yada, yada. But what I do see, because of the layoffs that have come, that will continue to come due to AI automations, that there will be a bunch of, hey, I just met you. This is crazy. Here's my number. Call me maybe. There will be a bunch of very talented people. Hi, Vampy Girl 699. Welcome in. There will be a bunch of very talented people, very creative people who will have professional quality tools available to them. And what those people, like a handful of 1, 2, 3 people, you and your friends, right? You got one friend who's really creative and good at storytelling. Good. So do I. You have one friend who's like more technical. You have another friend who's good at like keeping a whole structure in his head, right? Or her head, their head. And you get those few people together and they use these tools, and then they go ahead and they create what? Right? Manor Lords. Like, I understand that the original claims that one dude made Manor Lords maybe a little overblown, but it shows what one person is capable of doing, or a small number of people are capable of doing with the tools that existed 6 months, a year ago, or longer, right? However long they've been working on Manor Lords. With professional quality AI tools, they will be able to do that kind of stuff. And like, as gamers, right? I keep checking out the Manor Lords page because I'm waiting for I don't want the beta. I want the done version of the update, which is supposed to be amazing, right? And I am jumping on top of that as soon as it comes out. So that's what I'm waiting for. The idea of what they could do that, and the speed at which that's it. That's where I'm at, Stoicite. AI is popular depending on who you ask. There's an indie game called Inzoi that's being dubbed the Sims Killer. It uses AI as well. That's what's largely spurring AI to use it for The Sims. They finally have competition now that AI has let indie devs compete with major corporations and companies. I played the beta, literally one of the most incredible life simulators I have ever experienced. EA is panicking because Sims players are largely stating they will abandon the franchise for Inzoi. And so y'all know that I'm a Paradox mark, like I've stated this. They have stumbled a bit, right? Like with City Skylines 2 and stuff like that. But I've been, I have so many of their games and I enjoy so many of their games. They were working on a Sims type game, and relatively recently they abandoned it because we don't know why, right? They shut it down. They delayed it and then they shut it down. And I'm wondering if Inzoi had any influence on that they looked at that and were like, we're not going to be able to compete with that, so we'll just pull the plug here and move on. Paradox is in full implosion mode? I hope not, because I really love their games, dude. Like, Crusader Kings 3 is so good. I just don't have anyone to play it with. I need more AI friends. I'm going on social AI to make AI gamer friends. Can you make a game with AI yet? You to an extent. You can make limited games with AI easily. Can you use the coding tools to help you? Yes. Like, it's literally destroying every life simulator in terms of competition. It looks straight up 10 years ahead of everyone else. It's that good. All right. All right, one more. One more. And then we'll raid out. And stick around for the raid. Don't run off. I can see you. Already looking at the prettier streamer. ChatGPT can make a, like, the Snake game is one of those test games. Like, how well does it make Snake? It made the best version of Snake that I've seen an AI make. Complete with like a start screen and everything else off jump. So, OpenAI hires former Coursera executive to expand AI use in schools. Startup plans to work with educators on responsibly adopting artificial intelligence. OpenAI has hired former Coursera Inc. executive Leah Belsky to be its first general manager of education, leading the artificial intelligence startup's efforts to bring its product to more schools and classrooms. Belsky, previously the chief revenue officer at the online learning platform, will be tasked with boosting OpenAI's engagement with instructors and students across K through 12, higher education, and continuing education, the company said Wednesday. Belsky will also work internally with the startup's product, policy, marketing, and other teams on partnerships and sharing feedback from the academic world. After OpenAI launched ChatGPT in 2022, the chatbot quickly took off with students, so much so that the product saw a seasonal spike in usage at the beginning of the school year last fall. Some teachers tried to crack down on AI's use in classroom over. So have I. I made a bot for Discord with ChatGPT. Some teachers tried to crack down on AI's use in classrooms over concerns that students are using it to cheat on assignments. But other educators have accepted AI is here to stay and begun incorporating the technology into their lessons plans research. And of course, you have to sign up to read the rest of it, because that's the world that we live in. Garbage is free. Knowledge is not. All right. You can get past the paywall on Bloomberg by putting a period after .com. Can you really? I put a period after .com, Larry. I don't know. What up, Ponder Monkey? You're just in time to join us. Everybody in the bus. Get in the bus. I will be back tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. I will probably see some of you in various chapters around the chats around the Twitch and so on and so forth. I'm gonna go with Emma, because Emma will probably rate you into 1 second, Vampy. One moment. Click the button. See if I can still work the continuity, James, right? Like where where I can still get people where they need to be so that they can get their bus over to the James gang, then I still feel part of the community. All right. I will be back tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern. I will be back tomorrow evening around regular starting time, but it might be late again because I have my class to be an election observationist participating in this system. I'm in a filthy electoralist. So I'm doing my job and like that. And Monday we'll be talking with Levelhead in the evening. So that's our general plan going forward. And in the meantime, drink your water, eat some food, take your meds if you forgot, and always remember that Shaggy loves you. And so do I. Be great.
It was such a laugh. Oh, Globus! Thanks for the